The Adventures of Batman.
Welcoming you to the new adventures of Batman.
Welcome to Batmanimation, a Batman on Film podcast exploring the animated adventures of the Caped Crusader. I am your host, Senior BOF contributor Ryan Lauer, and with me is the editor-in-chief of BOF itself, Bill Jett Ramey. Bill, hello.
Hello there. How are you?
How are you? Oh, look at that. I'll go first. Swell. How are you?
I am tired of being cold. So we literally been iced in since Monday afternoon. And it's now Friday, the 2nd of February. So
have you ice skated on the street in front of your house? You've mentioned that you could.
I am not. I put it on Facebook, my regular Facebook. I'm serious. You could literally put on a pair of ice skates and spin around through my entire neighborhood, and do it much faster than even trying to walk or drive a vehicle.
Wow.
Because of the ice. So I think it's no more rain, no more freezing rain, no more sleet. It's going to get up to 40 today. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Balmy.
Heat wave.
And sunny. So we're going to melt it all off, hopefully.
That explains why you're wearing a muscle shirt and swim trunks, because the big heat wave that's coming to Texas is going to go swimming now.
Yeah.
Go swimming out in the street.
Yeah.
I've got my big old glass of now it's not purely Mountain Dew.
Okay.
But it is Mountain Dew Energy. So that's my coffee substitute. So
okay.
I'm all ramped up this morning.
I just got plain old H2O. That's all I got.
I mean, the size of these mugs that we're holding up in front of each other is just crazy.
Like a Stein. Yeah.
Yeah, but mine's Batman. I'm getting all ramped up because we have we have a good one to talk about today. This was one when we talked about Batmanimation very early on, and anybody calling dibs. Yes. You called dibs on Scooby-Doo and Batman the Brave and the Bold.
I did.
Pretty early on, and I had no complaints, and then I was hoping that I would be the one that would get to talk about that one with you.
Yeah, because it shocks people still. I think that they don't understand how I can love the Brave and the Bold, Batman the Brave and the Bold, so much. And my taste in Batman when it comes to live action and just Batman on film is so much different, and in comics as well.
Your love for Batman Zur-En-Arrh completely obliterates my confusion on why you love the Brave and the Bold so much. It's like, no, that one makes sense. Zur-En-Arrh, it's still scratching my brain on that one, but that's all right.
We talked about that episode, right? It was me and you.
No, it was you and
correct.
Javi.
It was me and Javi. Okay, yeah,
you and Javi talked that one.
That's
and I
right.
To it too,
that's right.
Yeah, it's it's a humdinger, but hey, to each their own. So anybody who's followed BOF, so this movie actually came out it was a straight to video release. Excuse me, January 9th, 2018. So it's already been out for 5 years of last month. But anybody anybody who's followed BOF, it's no surprise that you loved this from the get-go. I didn't track down and read your review. I don't know, was that on old BOF?
No, it was on new BOF.
It was on the new one. Okay. So we can track that down. Maybe I'll put that in the comments when you post this or something.
Shit, new BOF, quote unquote, is already 5+ years here in the old, and Batman on film was 25. Okay, woo! Whatever. Yeah.
Milestone year. But you wrote and you were all about this. It seems like it would have been hard to quote unquote fail this idea. But now, I don't know if you ever podcasted about it, if you did an episode on the podcast.
I don't think so.
I started regularly podcasting for BOF at the end of 2018. So this would have been before my time. I was still earning my stripes with Pete. at this time when it first came out. But
You're gonna be getting that. You're gonna get that 5-year pin
yeah,
here soon,
I can't
right?
wait. I'll wear it
Yeah.
right underneath my name tag. Lauer
Yeah.
spelled like lower, which works well when it's spelled
Yeah.
out and you're not audibly
Yeah.
hearing it. But this isn't the first time. I think we might have teased even way back when Batmanimation episode number 3 was "What a Night for a Dark Night" on the Scooby-Doo and
Mhm.
Guess Who show. That I told you, like, oh, we before we ever get to the movie, let's talk about this episode. And we
Mhm.
talked all about Batman and Scooby-Doo is just like a match, a perfect match. So now put in the Brave and the Bold universe, 6+ years after the original series had ended.
Mm.
So, I mean, we can kind of start. Don't need to rehash your feelings on Brave and the Bold. We've talked enough of those episodes that we
Mhm.
know that you love it, and I like
Mhm.
it, and I still have plenty of episodes I haven't seen waiting for me when I'm ready. But the idea of this movie being announced, I mean, I'm asking you to remember, 5+ years ago. Do you
Yeah.
remember pure excitement on your end?
Oh, that's a you're throwing shade at my age there, aren't you? You didn't think I'd remember 5 years
Oh
back.
shit. Didn't want to say it, but yeah. Just want to make sure you still got
Okay.
it, that you're sharp while we
Yes,
talk.
I take my Prevagen, okay? Um,
Yeah.
I was stoked because I thought the series deserved another season.
Mhm.
So did everyone involved, I think, especially if you watch the final episode. And I was really happy that it was going to get a movie, animated
Mhm.
movie, and combining it with Scooby Doo was just, I thought, was sheer brilliance because it fits. It fits.
Mhm.
It fits Scooby Doo because Scooby Doo historically had teamed up with Batman before,
Mhm.
right? And it fit bringing Scooby Doo and the gang into the world of the Brave and the Bold fits as well, and especially how they wrote this film. It's just it was great. It was a match made in heaven. We need more of this. We need more. I've said that on Twitter, and even James Tucker's responded. I need more. I need more Scooby Doo, Batman Brave and the Bold. I need or just more Batman the Brave and the Bold animated films. So
Mhm.
hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get that. We'll get something else someday.
And we've said how good of a matchup this is, and it was tried out in it was in the 70s, and it was
Yeah,
two 45-minute episodes. So
that was a
together, I mean, it's
big.
basically like
Hey,
one movie.
when I was a kid, I mean, a young kid.
Now you're aging
Kid,
yourself. I didn't do
yeah,
this.
no,
You
no, no,
did.
you didn't do that one. I mean, I was a kid who got up at 6 o'clock
Yeah.
a.m. Saturday mornings because Saturday morning cartoons was a huge deal back
Mhm.
then. You remember that though? You're old enough to remember, right? Or was it fading out when you
Oh,
were?
no,
Yeah,
daily cartoons were a big deal. I think I might have
yeah,
said before that I missed the school bus because I had to see
yeah,
who was the culprit in a Scooby-Doo episode.
yeah, yeah.
I got in trouble.
So I remember it was Scooby-Doo movies, I think was what that incarnation of Scooby-Doo
Okay.
was. And they had various guest stars, real people like Phyllis Diller and Laurel and Hardy and I mean, they would have that.
Which is basically what Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, I think, was trying to be, was just like an updated version of
Yeah,
that. But
yeah,
I mean, what a fantastic series, because some of the
yeah,
guests that they have on that now, and I think they're all on Netflix, maybe they're on HBO Max.
yeah,
But yeah, I just feel like this like the contemporary version of that
yeah.
show, and they
Absolutely, it
even
is.
nod to that old
Absolutely,
show and look and everything, and
absolutely,
I think it's awesome.
100%, 100%. And I remember, they would preview of who's coming up, on that
Mhm.
show, and it was gonna be Batman and Robin, and I was like,
Lost your
yes,
mind.
yeah. So
Those
yeah,
two, it's the dynamic Scooby-Doo affair,
mm-hmm,
and then the Caped Crusader Caper.
mm-hmm,
They were released when DVDs started. It was released as Scooby-Doo meets Batman, and it contained
mm-hmm,
both of those. And then
mm-hmm,
actually on the DVD of this Scooby-Doo and Batman the Brave and the Bold, it contains both of those.
Correct.
Oddly enough, and I haven't checked to see if digitally they changed it, but at first on delivery digital, they didn't include those. So the digital and the actual DVD itself were the same price. Because it's Batman, I always go for physical. And yeah, so that was like an extra perk to have those on. And I think actually the champion of Long Island himself said that he'd like to cover one of those for Batman animation. So
wow, okay.
hopefully this year, get him to come, Aquaman to come up to the surface and talk a little Batman Scooby-Doo. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So for this movie itself, I mean, for me, it's just a straight to video Batman movie. I'm in, no matter the format, anything like that. Because I mean, it's freaking Batman. It's the whole reason that you have this site, and it's the reason that I'm able to do stuff for the site. It's because it's freaking Batman. But Scooby-Doo, like you, I was a massive fan growing up. Go back to episode 3 of Batmanimation. I've probably mentioned it quite a few times. So in this world, this animation, I didn't feel like it was a stretch to combine those two worlds in any way at all.
No.
It's just like the animation looks, and I'm not saying one copies the other or anything. It's just like, it just looks like a perfect kind of blending of the two. And this is Batmanimation talking about cartoons. So I'll stray from the adult language, but I even texted you yesterday of like, I think this movie freaking rules from the first viewing. And I think that there's so much in this that I do, as many times as I've seen it. I watched it last weekend and things surprised me. And I started watching it again last night before bed because I'm like, I know I'm going to forget like to mention like at least 20 things. No matter how much I watch this, if I watch it right before Bill and I record, I'm going to forget a lot of things that I want to mention because I think there's so much like good stuff in this movie.
Well, right from the beginning, I mean, I'm already hooked going in, right?
Yeah.
Because it's Scooby-Doo and it's Batman. But it sounds absurd. I don't know if I want to use that word. Outrageous. Yes, that's
outrageous.
That's
the word.
Outrageous. Yes. But this group of detectives from Gotham are putting Scooby-Doo and the gang through a test unbeknownst to them to see if they are worthy of joining this group of detectives. And it's Detective Chimp who's part of this. And I'm just
you've always wanted Detective Chimp in a Batman movie.
Oh yeah.
Like you're petitioning that all the time.
Yeah. Hopefully that Brave and the Bold will Detective Chimp in there. Fingers crossed. So, but it's awesome. Like I said, it's outrageous, but you don't go, it's outrageous like, yes, that's out, in a fun, awesome way, not outrageous like, that's just dumb. That's too far out there. That's dumb. No, you're with me, right?
I'm with you. And we have, I think I can dip a little bit more into fantastical than you can.
Yeah.
But as far as some Batman sensibilities, you and I are pretty much in the same ballpark.
You give me, this is, I think, the Brave and the Bold lets me enjoy that part of Batman.
Yeah.
Because I am a Batman fan. If I never said that before, I don't know if I told you, but I am lifelong. And I appreciate, and I also talked about how much I appreciate Batman history. So this is my source, my outlet to experience that part of Batman.
The nod to history, and then I think also the nostalgia. It's like a 1-2 punch. Because as a kid, I'm sure you were experienced.
Oh, and I'm also watching this, and I'm also I become 6, 7, 8-year-old Bill or Billy back then.
Yeah,
watching Scooby-Doo on Saturday mornings.
Wearing that blue Batman cowl.
Wearing my blue Batman costume.
Firing your little guns. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that whole, the way of getting the Mystery Inc. in is through this test and the classic reveal and the characters like you got. And I mean, we're not going to go through breakdown story points, but I do love that. And all of a sudden and then jump to a contemporary takedown fight. And my God, it gets me every single time. Even jotted it down of as Batman's foiling a bank robbery with Riddler, and then Catwoman shows up, and Batman says about having to go. We are doing a meeting for the monthly analysts of Gotham.
Yeah.
And the camera stays, and I know it's drawn, but the camera stays on Batman, and then the camera just starts to pan over to Aquaman in the background, who's like, "A party, eh? Huzzah!" As he flexes, gets me every single
The
time.
whole
Like,
the
oh my
whole
God.
thing, the whole bit that Aquaman is shunned because
Yeah.
he's not a detective.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Huzzah! And I forget what, and then how he ends up at the mystery, or the mystery, I already forgot, monthly analysts of Gotham
Yeah.
meeting as I should have jotted that down too, where he just puts on a mustache and all this, a black
Yeah.
mustache. Priceless. And as we all know, John DiMaggio as Aquaman in Brave and the Bold was definitely the standout, because he's just like freaking hilarious, which I guess I should have just mentioned pretty much all the returning casts of both sides, both universes, between Batman the Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
And then the Scooby-Doo cast, which I was an idiot when we talked to Batman Scooby-Doo before on Batmanimation, and I said, whoever did the voice of Fred sounds really good from the original, because it was the original. It was Frank Welker. Like, I felt like an idiot when I looked that up after the fact of like, God damn, that was the original Fred. Always do the work. And I'm double checking that now because I feel like I need to definitely make sure that I'm not screwing that up. But I thought I did look that up after the fact. And it blew my mind, first of all, that they, the original guy is still voicing this character all these years later. So good for him. But then let's see, directed by Jake Castorena, and then story by, you mentioned him, James Tucker, Michael Jelenic. James Tucker, no surprise. It'd be great if we could talk to him one day just about his being involved in animation.
Anytime.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just a lot of overlap, and then also, with Scooby-Doo, Matthew Lillard as Shaggy, great, awesome. I really like him at voicing Shaggy. And Kate, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Anyway, who does Velma? I think also sounds really close to the. There you go. She sounds like the original Velma, I think, a lot. So I think she does a really good job too. And then Gray Griffin, as Daphne, who Pete actually got to interview.
Yeah.
Look at Gray Griffin and Tara Strong for the Batman Ninja for BOF. He got to interview both of them. And Tara Strong's also she voices Harley Quinn in this movie. So there you go. Pete loved that interview. And there's a video out there of Pete's
Got to
interview
watch
with
that
her.
Pete and Tara Strong interview. It's awesome.
Pete overheats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, that's good. So anyways, so casting and voicing alone, I mean, top notch, carries over. I mean, just what are some highlights, things that you definitely want to bring up and mention? Like, what are standouts for you?
Okay,
when you think
it's
about
just there's just the Aquaman bit is awesome. I already talked about, and the test at the beginning. It's things like that throughout. So it's so many. It's all the stuff about the Brave and the Bold that made it so good. All the different characters, that some of the the ones who were most frequent on the show. I mean, you get Plastic Man, of course, the Aquaman, Black Canary, the Question. I mean, there's just all of this, and I just Batman being a detective and the Mystery Inc. and that their whole that's their whole thing, solving mysteries and being detectives. And the supernatural, it's always, I would have gotten away with it. It wasn't for these kids, that kind of stuff.
Meddling kids.
Yes. And it just all works. So, I mean, it's such a perfect combination of two universes,
Yeah.
Dietrich Bader is great,
And he said on Twitter in
yeah.
response to people that talk about that tag him into this, he's like, best job he's ever done or something of the voicing Batman in the series and stuff. So I'm trying to get like a few of the highlights for me. So spoiler alert, I guess. The Crimson Cloak ends up becoming the big mystery of this one, because it's a ghost. It's a ghost. Was it any bit surprising to you that was Clayface?
Okay, I gotta go. I have to think now back to when I first watched it. Maybe a little, but and then you go, yeah, what's Clayface? Yeah, you can do that. You know what I mean? But I think they set it up perfectly of not giving it away where they were going with the, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'd say, yeah, I was surprised. But surprised in a good way.
Because you're talking to the dummy who was surprised by the reveal at the end of every Scooby-Doo episode.
Yeah.
Never had it figured out. That's why I missed the bus, because I just
missed the I was about to say. Yeah.
Why I missed the bus. But and then you look though too, and I was like, wait, there's still a little bit left of this movie. It's got to go somewhere. So the extra surprise reveal of being the Riddler has been the question the whole time. Like that was an added layer. And this was before the Batman. And I Riddler is one of my favorite Batman villains. For sure. That I want more Riddler. And hey, Matt Reeves heard me apparently. But so to have that extra, added reveal and surprise too was really nice.
Oh, I think I was I was clearly in single digit age Jett mode. And my mind probably went with Clayface and then with the Riddler, Yeah.
Your mind shattered, then those little parts shattered when the Riddler reveal came across too. But and the connection to that of it was basically Batman's unsolved case or most regret case that he didn't feel him, which we get that flashback, which I love because historical Batman's first suit makes an appearance.
Yep.
Which is awesome. It's always fun. I'm not saying that I need a whole movie looking like that, although maybe Cape Crusader's gonna have some of that. But I don't need a whole movie, but nods like that are always fun. I dip back. And then of course we see the man with the best haircut in Gotham, Milo, Professor Milo. We get to he pops up in that too. But I mean, I like how that's a through line too. That gives a little bit of context and adds a little bit to the whole story and the mystery because it's Batman's unsolved case. In that file cabinet that's labeled for everybody, and Plastic Man doesn't apparently go through with his mysteries, and he's still part of the super elite club.
There's so much little Batman things, for lack of a better term. Blackgate Penitentiary, Arkham Asylum, all the different Batman characters, Harley and
No Man's Land is in the little section of Gotham. All those diamonds, Bill.
He's out there looking for diamonds.
Looking for diamonds. The driving.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No,
I was just going to say but it was way before. It's way before the Batman when this came out. But it would have been, what if we got Martinez? Martinez was a character in this film.
He's coming. Well, you saw it
in the sequel.
The original slate of DC was announced by James Gunn that it was the Martinez verse, and then I guess they reworked it, and now it's its own thing. So what could have been?
I think Martinez he'll get an HBO series spinoff.
Oh, okay, that works.
Yeah, that's what's coming after the Penguin.
And then one of those will be with Mystery Inc. He'll help Mystery Inc. All right.
Yes.
I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah.
James Gunn wrote those live action Scooby-Doo movies. I think it's coming. So
that's a ticket.
It's all connected. So another part that comes up. So some great nods to the original Scooby-Doo series, of course, because there's one when they're back in the warehouse and I forget who calls and they say, Shaggy, Scooby-Doo, where are you? I was like, oh, clever. Look at that. And it doesn't take much. It works right with it. But if you know, you know. And then they, of course, because I mean, it's a requirement for Scooby-Doo something. You just have a static shot and then they're running across, popping up in different doorways to other doorways.
You got to have that. Have to have
they
that.
mastered that craft. The original series did. So you have to have that. And of course, that's entertaining and that's fun. There's, I think, so we'll backtrack in a second, but and when they're in the van and they turn down some alley and then they get confronted by Bane and Blockbuster, and then for them to get out of it, Scooby and Shaggy basically do like a tailgating shtick, and then they all hop back in the van and take off. And I think it's Batman. Apologies if it's not Batman who says it, but I think it's Batman who says it. And he's like, "There's no way that should have worked." And I think it's one of the mysteries is just like, just go with it. You know, like that's a little humor too that really like that gets me, because it is like, yeah, that's a Shaggy and Scooby trend. That's what they do, is something that's completely outrageous. And yeah, so you know, that's a way, that's clever writing that I know goes with the Brave and the Bold crew, of like a way of like acknowledging of like, yeah, we know it's ridiculous, but just go with it. So I mean, you work that into the script, and look, it got a great laugh out of me, and nothing about that whole part bothers me at all. It's great.
I mean, I was going to say the writing of this, props to those folks, because this is really a multi-layered, deep. I don't mean deep in like that's you know, like the Batman, that's deep, you know, not like that, but like just a lot of layers. It takes things, and you know,
it has to be a craft, and it takes such skill to write sharply, I think, to hit this tone. Even though, like, you know, I don't have any bad things to say about Brave and the Bold, but I've told you, like, I don't think it's a series that I can fully binge though. But I do like it. But I understand of fitting that tone that is, it's lighthearted and funny, and it's never like making fun of Batman. And in this case, it's not making fun of Batman, that world, or Scooby-Doo in that world either. It's like having fun with it, and like embracing it, which, you know, there's a huge difference. Because not at any point here am I like, do I watch this and laugh at it and be like, yeah, that's just stupid, and they're making fun of it. No, I think it's embracing some of the crazier elements of both worlds.
As much as I love the 60s TV series, it got to a point in the third season, it was self-parody. It was almost making fun of Batman, you know. It didn't start off that way at all. But that's a different topic. But yeah, I know, I'm with you. This celebrates Batman. It celebrates Scooby-Doo. It never makes fun of either. And the things that are almost, you know, cliche, or the things we expect from Scooby-Doo that can become like, you know, like the Shaggy and Scooby deal with Bane and Blockbuster. It could be like, okay, they're just trying to do it like they used to do it, and this is dumb. But it's not that at all. It's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, almost like a crutch, leaning on something as a crutch. Like, oh, we got to do this, whatever. And it's like,
yes, exactly. That's what I
felt organic, felt genuine. Worked for me. And backtrack, it was before the Bane and Blockbuster part. Of course, they make a trip to Arkham Asylum, which I do love that part. They go to Riddler's in. This is right up your alley. He's in cell DC 140. Why do you think they chose cell DC 140, Bill? Because it sounds cool. Okay,
you're gonna take my Batman card away from me.
I don't know.
DC 140, Detective Comics 140. First time we see Arkham?
No.
Or the first appearance of the Riddler?
There you go. Riddler.
Okay.
Riddler's debut.
Okay.
We can edit, you know, you can edit the Arkham part out and just be like, first time we see the Riddler? Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was getting.
That's almost
I
the
had my
question
wallet
on,
right here. I was going to get out my card and take it out.
that's almost a question on Garrett's damn "What Are You" game.
Yeah.
Which stresses me and Pete the F out. And Justin recently has gotten to feel that stress. Nobody understands the stress of that game until you're put on the hot seat, and then all of a sudden your whole bat reputation is at stake.
Yeah.
Check out the BOF podcast for that goodness. But the
Yes.
Arkham's, I love the Arkham scene. It is as we expect with something like this, especially as you expect with the Brave and the Bold. That's the I mean, that's the eye candy for us fans because we're looking for the Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So of course you got the DC 140, but I mean in this is a way that you get to just like have fun and just do the cameos of all these Batman villains, which I love.
Yeah.
In Brave and the Bold, like fully embraced some of those looks. Like I'm pulling up real quick now. Is it Clock King? Like he's got a clock for a head. That's his head.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Babyface has a baby head on a big old body. Like that's funny. But then you also get some of the ones of like, Arnold Wesker and Scarface popping in. And I think Mortimer Drake, the Cavalier, he shows up. Egghead. He shows up in this. But then, Harley Quinn shows up, which obviously she's not an old like character from back in the Golden Age or Silver Age or anything like that, but it still totally works. Poison Ivy, Two-Face, big old lunch, because Scooby and Shaggy find the cafeteria that has a ton of burgers with knives in them, because
yeah,
that's a staple in
Yeah.
Arkham cuisine, and there becomes a massive food fight. So like I love all of that because I do think that that's the part, that's a case where you get to have a lot of fun because there's a lot of elements that when you can just throw stuff in the background, that's where you get to dig deep into your Batman archives. Like that's where I think there'd be a ton of fun to be able to be like, let's throw in this villain, because of course, are you ever going to do a baby face full like movie sort of deal or anything like that? Probably not. So let's throw them in the background here.
And are you gonna have a Batman movie where there's a villain bar where the villains go and hang out?
Exactly. Yeah.
No.
No, you're not.
which is, it's you laugh at it, but you're not laughing at it in that way. You're laughing because it's because it's awesome. I mean, how many times have used that word on this show? And outrageous.
Yeah.
And awesome. A villain bar.
I love this version of, because in Arkham, they're all wearing the striped suits, but it's like, well, they get to keep their headgear.
Yeah.
And I know it's for us as fans, so we get to see which villains are who, as opposed to it's just a bunch of guys, whatever. But it's like, I love that little aspect of it, like nodding in, like leaning into the fun angle of it all too. And so like Clocking still got a clock for a head. Cavalier gets to keep his long hat, and Harley still gets to keep the makeup on her face, and like I think she's got a hat on too. And I mean, all that just, I mean, it's
like when you're
King Tut, Bookworm.
Yeah, when you're being processed, right? As a villain.
Yeah.
Inmate in Arkham and the Brave and the Bold universe. You put all your personal stuff in a bag so it can be stored, but you get to keep any headgear, any headwear, any headgear you have.
Yeah.
You may keep that.
That's okay.
Everything else has to go in the storage.
Hey, Deadshot, you can keep your whole headgear and your scope and everything. Why not? Perfect. In a place like Arkham. And Holly, make sure you go to the cafeteria and get yourself a burger and a knife. No problems come from that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I jotted down. I think that's like it's what I got. I don't know. Is there any other highlights you have for this? that you want to
I
bring
think
up?
I covered it, but I mean, hopefully, okay. I want everybody. I want 1 million people to listen to this podcast, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We got about so, but I just being real. A lot of times it when folks see what episode we're covering or what
Mhm.
movie or whatever, in this case, movie, if they like it already, they're going to listen.
Yeah.
Because they like it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So hopefully we'll reach some people who have never seen this and they watch it and become fans of it. So that's my goal here because I highly recommend it. I know there are Batman fans who say, I've never watched Brave and the Bold. I don't like that kind of Batman, but you got to give it a go. I mean, if I can love it, come on now.
Yeah. And actually, just like the other day, and this is not calling him out, but Javi had said that he'd never seen this, and I made a statement, and I said, buy it if you need to, and if you don't like it, I will reimburse you, and I promise.
Yeah.
But I don't see a universe where you'd watch this and not like it.
Mm-hmm.
Or not universe. I don't see a situation where you'd watch this and not like it because, I mean, it's on HBO Max still. Like as of this moment, it's still on HBO Max. So, I mean, if you're subscribed to that, go ahead. But I don't know. I don't see how anybody could be disappointed watching this movie, no matter what I mean, you're like the complete opposite of what this is as far as your Batman sensibilities are now.
Yeah.
And this still wins you over.
Yeah.
So throughout the movie, though, let me ask you if there's one part, we'll just say a favorite part.
Favorite part. But the first thing that popped in my mind is the Aquaman thing when Aquaman, the whole bit, and Aquaman not being able to get in to the analyst group because he's not a detective, and he's a little butthurt, and it's just, it was a very funny and in a very cool, funny way part of the movie. There's just so much. It's hard for me to pick something because I'm entertained from beginning to end.
Absolutely. For me, it's the Arkham scene, the whole Arkham scene.
Oh,
I love the bits. That's where the Scooby-Doo classic running back and forth in doorways. That's where that shtick is. But also in the Batman lore, it's got all the villains popping up in the background stuff. That'll always win me over. Always. So yeah, that's my part. So I think that's about it. It's an A in my book. Not that we ever grade this stuff, but I think it's a pure A.
Yeah, it's an A. Solid A plus. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite Batman movies. I know it's straight to TV, straight to video, whatever you want.
Doesn't matter. It's a movie with Batman, so it's a Batman.
That's right. It is a Batman movie based on that criteria, and it's in my rotation.
I think that's key. It's like if it's in a rotation, for sure.
It's something I will go to when I want to watch, like the animated stuff. If I want this type of deal, it's this and Lego Batman, Lego Batman movie. They're in my rotation.
Nice.
Along with Dark Knight Trilogy and the Batman and Batman 89 and Mask of the Phantasm.
Returns at Christmas.
Okay.
Anyways, we'll keep it positive. We'll keep it positive. All right. Well, Bill, this is always whenever podcasting with you, it's always really fun getting to this part. Why don't you go ahead and plug away?
I will plug batman-on-film.com. Please go there. Check out all the stuff that the guys do. Yes, we cover Batman on film, but I got a bunch of comic book reviews and podcasts. We have different podcasts. We have Ron's podcast, Batman Book Club shows up there. Pete and Eric's podcast, Straight Out of Gotham, can be found there. And support those guys. Know what they do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say
I put our Batman podcast up with any Batman podcast out there, whether it's a social hour, this one, the original podcast, what have you.
I listen to them all, like ones I'm not involved in, even I'm listening to them, and yeah, there's a lot of good podcasts up on the site this week,
and a lot of it's not opinion is not driven by the editor-in-chief at all.
That's right. Listen to the latest BOF podcast that Garrett hosted perfectly, I might add, and had Justin Haas and Aquaman himself, the champion, on as guest, where they talked about the DC studio stuff. That was a great listen. I just finished it up last night. And yeah, like you said, straight out of Gotham, my podcast, the Batman Book Club, you generously put up there too. And then yeah, the social hour and everything. So yeah, a lot of good stuff that's on the site this week. And then I don't plug my personal Twitter because it's Batman Book Club on Twitter at the Batman VC. That just tweets out Batman stuff. And that's why I exist, Batman. So
yes, isn't that why we all exist?
That's why we all exist. It's how
Rachel. That's what Rachel told me last night. I exist because of Batman. I went, that's why we got married. That was it.
Yeah. Opening question on first date. Hey, you like Batman? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get married. That's how fast that moved. All right. Well, speaking of announcer Rachel, let's let her. She'll take us out.
Thanks for listening to Batmanimation, a BatmanOnFilm.com podcast revisiting the animated TV and film adventures of the Caped Crusader. Follow Batmanimation on Twitter at Batmanimation. Follow BOF on Twitter at The Batman on Film. Follow Jett on Twitter at Batman on Film. For Jett and Team BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive, the original. Established in 1998.